What happened in the Temecula Valley real estate market in October? Today, we're going to be combining our trench report and our market report for the month of October. Here we go. Hi, Jessica Genung here with the Genung team in Active Realty. Today, I'm going to start with our trench report, which is where I talk about what's going on in our personal business so that you can get a feel for what this market is really like from the boots on the ground. But first, I'm going to talk briefly about a very serious topic, which is wire fraud. We had a very, very close call with a client that was almost a victim of wire fraud last week. We occasionally see these articles in the news, and there are wire fraud advisories all over our contracts. But it's easy to think that the likelihood of it happening to you is low, and I don't know anyone who has personally encountered wire fraud until last week, that is. So I just want to send out this quick PSA to say that if you are involved in a real estate transaction, to speak with your agent before you send any funds with a wire. There are some steps that you can take to protect yourself. I'm probably going to be making a video about that shortly, but in the meantime, talk with your agent before sending funds. The way wire fraud typically happens is that the criminals hack into an email account. In our case, we're not sure if escrow's email got hacked or if it was the mortgage company or possibly my client's personal email account. Anyway, they hack into an email account and they get enough information to impersonate a key person in the process. I'll change the name of the person and the company involved. So let's say Jen at Acme Escrow Company. So the scammer sent the email from Jen at Acme Escrow with 2 V's instead of the W in escrow. All of the other people that had been on previous escrow email chains were included on the CC line in that email. So myself, Chris, my transaction coordinator, various other people in the escrow company were on the CC line. We were not actually CC'd, but it looked like that we were, but the email only went to the buyer. So these emails can be very convincing. Like it had the escrow company font. Like I said, everybody was CC'd. It looked very authentic. One other thing to look out for in these fraudulent emails asking for you to send wire funds is a lot of times there is like a sense of urgency that they put into it. So for whatever reason, you need to send the money quickly. You know, in the case of this email, I think it was, due to the, COVID-19 delays, we need to get the money in sooner than later. And the other thing with the amount that was in this email was very close to our actual amount that we needed. Sometimes they can even be exact. So you have to be very, very careful. So be on the lookout. This is a video for another day on how to prevent this from happening to you. But as of for right now, speak with your agent, and I do plan on making a video about that very soon. Trench report, starting with some recent clients that are moving to Temecula up from the San Diego area. They owned a townhome in the San Diego area and they needed to sell their San Diego home before being able to purchase their new home in Temecula. So it can be a little bit complicated when you're buying and you're selling at the same time. And we had several strategy meetings to help them decide on the best path forward. We are still in a very strong seller's market and it is a big disadvantage to be contingent right now. So you want to avoid having to write contingent offers whenever possible. So we decided that the best path forward for these clients was going to be to sell their San Diego condo first, get it closed, and negotiate a 60-day rent back from the new buyer. Because we are in such a strong seller's market, these rent back requests are often granted. So this is what we did. Our client's townhome, it was in really excellent condition and it closed at about $20,000 over the highest sold comp in the community and $25,000 over our asking price, which meant that they could raise their budget a little bit for their replacement Temecula home. Within a week of closing, they found a great home in South Temecula's Wolf Creek neighborhood, and we are now in escrow on that one. I'll hold off on the details for this one because we are still in the beginning stages. For clients such as these that have a home to sell in Southern California, we love handling both sides of the transaction and we feel that this makes the process run more smoothly. This was the second offer that we submitted for these clients, and most of our clients are getting their offers accepted within 1 or 2 offers, which is a really big change from the market just a few months ago. So compared to back then, and I definitely don't want to jinx it, but it's almost seeming easy when it's only taking 1 or 2 offers to get accepted instead of 5 or even 7, like one client of ours that just recently got an offer accepted. It took 7 offers and they were making great offers every time. In fact, all of our longer term buyer clients that took more than 1 offer to get accepted, they're now in escrow and set to close on home. 6 months ago, the resale market was so difficult to compete in, and just the thought of having to enter a bidding war made buying a new construction home much more appealing for our clients. New construction, it is about half of our business, and it has been very popular this year. Because so many of our clients earlier this year decided on new construction, it just so happens that this month is when a lot of them are closing. So we have 15 clients closing on homes this month, which will be by far the most we have ever had closed in a single month. It's about 2 to 3 times as many closings as we typically have, and 9 out of those 15 homes are new construction homes. Closing it up, doing the final walkthroughs, delivering the closing gifts, handing out the keys, that is the fun part, assuming that the lender is doing a good job. Some of these builder lenders, they do not give the service that my recommended lenders give, so there can be some annoyances at times when that is the case, but we do our best to work through it. Chris will be doing the stats up next and some holiday stuff. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the stats. Stick around to the end. I'll explain what's going on with this holiday video and show you some more community events. Let's get back to the regular stats now. All right, starting with median home price in Murrieta, we've got $625,000 versus $512,250 the year before. That's up 22%. And it's up 10 months from the prior month of $615,000. Now I will say that June through October in Murrieta, we've gone pretty much $615,000 to $625,000. We went $615,000, $625,000, $620,000 went down, $620,000 to $15,000 went down. Last month it's back up to $625,000. But I will just point out that this is within $10,000 and pretty stable the last 5 months. So I'm hoping that it remains here around this price point. And if it does go up just slightly, that would be nice. Menifee, median price $522,000 versus $429,500 last year. That's up 21.5%, similar to Murrieta year over year. Now this October number of $522,000, that's up $18,500 over the prior month. Month before that though, August, was $520,000, and the month before that $515,000, $500,000. So sort of like Murrieta, it is stabilizing some. We've got $500,000 to $522,000 this month, average about $512,000. That's over the last 5 months. So I'm hoping that one also stabilizes some. Lastly, Temecula, $715,000. Last month I was talking about the number $700,000, and I was only up $5,000 from $695,000 in August there. So I was kind of hoping it would stick right at that $700,000 number, just because it's a nice number, nice and round. But it did go up $15,000 this month. It is hopefully slowing there in Temecula as well on the pricing. Now you'll notice I'm spent a lot of time kind of looking back at prior months because it's the most recent history, because these year-over-year numbers, they're just crazy. 715 versus 547, that 30%, that's $167,000 in Temecula. So that's just a big number. But again, we're hoping they do stabilize here, or at least go up more gradually, which is happening. Moving on to closed sales, we have 175 versus 268 last year. Moving on to Menifee, 207 versus 189. One thing about Menifee here, the last month was also 207, 200 the month before that. So in terms of quantity of closed sales, it seems to be stabilizing there. Pretty much anything that's on the market will sell eventually. Closed sales, Temecula, 182 versus 218 last year. Similar comment to Murrieta, where I feel like everything sold through that was on the market last year. And then we do have seasonality. Past several months does appear to be a more normal cyclical slowdown in quantity of sales. Okay, median days on market. This has been one of my favorite stats the last several months. I'm having some fun with it, and it got an interesting result here to look at. Murrieta, 11 days on market versus 5. You may remember if you've been watching my recent market updates, I've been talking about how, this year the low of 5 in Murrieta, it ticked up to 6 in June, July, and then it ticked up again, 7 in September, and now in October we went up to 11. So that's kind of a cool number. And Menifee has the exact same situation going on. We were at 7, and went to 11. It just reminds me of me and Jessica in the casino days, 7-11 craps. 7-Eleven, but that's kind of a big jump for a stat, any of these stats that we see. Let me finish up here with Temecula. And median days on market, Temecula went 6, 7, 8, and now 10. So that is interesting to see. And just anecdotally from what we see, I am seeing more properties that kind of linger on into the next week and into the next weekend. Properties that are really nice and priced well, those still sell, of course, the first weekend of showings. That's many of the properties, if not most of the properties. But kind of your typical average property might not have the upgraded kitchen or whatever that everybody wants. I am seeing those carry on into the next week more, and then even a second weekend of showings, and that would explain why I am seeing longer days on market here in this stat. So that's cool to me on the buyer side. Kind of sticking with the Halloween theme, here's a little jokey lockbox thing I posted in a recent update that shows you a lockbox. If you're selling your house, you misprice it, it might sit a little while. All right, active listings, 257 versus 282. October of last year, it's down in Murrieta. Menifee, 260 versus 257 is flat. And Temecula, 255 versus 284 is also down. Now these active number listings are bouncing around a little bit, but they are starting to group together more, 2020 and 2021. So it's nice to see some consistency. The story remains about low inventory, how it's basically half of what we want to see though. And a lot of the media, a lot of the literature is saying that it's going to remain low. I'm going to be a little contrarian like my Goldman Sachs people there and say that I think people are going to put their houses on the market this year and maybe to an even greater degree than expected. That's just my opinion, no crystal ball. All right, before we completely leave Halloween of this year behind, here's a flyer for Fall Fest. That was in Morgan Hill. Here's some nice footage of it. We've got mother-in-law, the Angel, and Grandpa there, Robert the Elder, rolling into Madigan Park in Morgan Hill. That's a free event put on by Riverside County. And we mention this every time we go through Morgan Hill. We point out Madigan Park. We say, here's that great event. So we went out there this year and shot some footage of it, and it was fantastic. All right, if you're watching this video, you'll see that our diva, Mariah, she's smashing the pumpkin. She's saying it's not time, smashing the word not, so it is time. And what I mean by that is, I think people are gonna be doing Christmas right away this year. I'm shooting this the first week in November. Halloween was just on Sunday, and I know people like Jessica are wanting to start Christmas right now. All right, thanks for watching. Jessica will be back next week. Have a good one.